I don't believe in overnight success, but I do believe in overnight breakthroughs. And I went from that point in our marriage where it was bad to making 1.4 million in 18 months. So it was this skyrocket after that, but it was 18 months of it being really, really hard. And I don't think enough people talk about that. This is why I really believe, and it's part of what 50 Not Finished is all about, is that you actually have to love your dreams so much that it can weather the storm, right? It can weather the different storms that it will go through. I think it's about loving your dreams so much that you're willing to go through what you need to go through.
Today's conversation is for the woman staring into her next chapter, wondering, who is she now? Who am I supposed to be? What happened to that old version of me? Maybe you don't recognize yourself after having kids, after a divorce, after leaving that corporate job, after crossing a certain age, whether that's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Maybe you've been living by rules that no longer fit the woman you're becoming, and that's why you feel so uncomfortable in your body right now. This is your invitation to rewrite the rules, to stop waiting for permission and start creating a life that feels wildly aligned, deeply fulfilling, and unmistakably yours. We're talking about reigniting your purpose when the old one no longer fits, about breaking free from the stories that say it's too late, too messy, too far gone, because this after, this beautiful unknown, might just be the beginning of the most powerful chapter of your life. Let's dive in. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. I cannot wait for you to hear this intimate, life-changing, mind-altering conversation. And you've got to see the cover of my guest book, okay? Because I didn't have this book during the interview. It came after. It is beyond fabulous. 50 Not Finished and the Midlife Manifesto for Gen X women. And you're listening to this and you're 30. You're listening to this and you're 25. You're listening to this and you're 65. Age is irrelevant in our conversation. What it's about is rewriting the rules and reigniting your purpose and reclaiming your motherfucking life, okay? And your space in this world and shining and showing up and doing the thing. So anytime you hear a reference of like a specific generation or age, it doesn't matter. It applies as long as you are moving through and entering a new season, a new chapter in your life. All right. This is going to be exactly what I would say 70% of you listening need to hear today. There's going to be something in here that is going to hit you between the eyes, whether it's validation, whether it's permission, whether it's a sign, whether it's a perspective shift. And here's how I know that. I sometimes select guests based on like topics and people really want a certain topic. And then we look for an expert and then I do my best to vet them on that topic to make sure they're a good fit for the show. Other times I base it totally on intuition. And I obviously know Julie Ciardi, like we've gone way back. She's coached with me. And that was back in 2019. And I don't scroll that much on Instagram for my own mental health. So it's not like I'm sitting there scrolling and checking in and, you know, constantly looking at everyone's stuff. I just had a lot of women and a lot of conversations with women who really feel invisible right now. They feel like shit physically, mentally, they feel off. They don't know where to go. There really isn't someone who is speaking to these things openly. Like there's a lot of stuff around like perimenopause and menopause and midlife, and they'll see stuff like that, but the stuff that they're going through is much deeper than that. And then here I saw you came out with a book, 50 Not Finished, baby. And I was like, yes, the bright red cover. And you guys can see her right now on ProjectME TV on YouTube. She has perfectly matched her lipstick shade with the cover of her book. And this delights me, I have to say.
It's in my human design. I like things to look a certain way. But the book 50 Not Finished, what's so funny to me is that people just see the three words and they instantly know what it's about. And I think it passed your feed on absolutely the same as you're saying. It's needed and no one's talking about it. And so, one, I'm honored to be here with you. I absolutely was a client of yours back in 2019. You were one of the first coaches to help me after I left IBM. Thought I was going to very quickly have the rise to success like I did at IBM. And I didn't. It was hard. It was really hard to start the business and grow it. And you're one of the coaches that I owe a lot of thanks to helping me get on my feet so that I could actually get my message out to the world. Because I think so many of us have the message that we feel that we're meant to bring out in the world, and we get stuck in the how, and we get stuck in the, all the strategies and the tactics and all of those things. And you were just a big help to me. So I want to thank you for that and all that you do to help women be able to get their message out there.
Well, thank you. I received that, and I think that's also good for people to know that it is not some instant thing. And that doesn't mean that you weren't meant to do what you're doing. And that doesn't mean that you're not qualified. That doesn't mean you're not great. But wow, we can certainly make up stories like maybe I started this too late. Maybe I don't fit the mold. Maybe I don't have that look. Maybe, what kind of stuff went through your head when you were going after your own thing after being in corporate? A lot of people can relate listening. And it wasn't like this magical, story of I left corporate and within 6 months, my business is booming and I'm bouncing on the beaches all over the world, barely working.
Floating on a flamingo float. No, not at all. But funny that you say that. That's what I was seeing back in 2016, 2017, 2018. So I thought that is what happens. Like, it does happen that quickly and it is that easy. And I don't really remember a lot of people talking that it was hard because everyone was trying to sell you on how easy it was to make passive income and do this and all the things. And, I left IBM because I wasn't happy and didn't feel fulfilled. And it was really flippin' scary because I was the primary breadwinner of a family of 5. So it wasn't just me making a decision for myself. I was a vice president of marketing there. So I had a very huge salary, bonuses, like my family's entire lifestyle was literally on my shoulders. And I just thought that I always had success. I became an executive at IBM, in my 30s. And I just thought starting my business was going to be easy in a sense because I had a lot of confidence. And I also
and you were the VP of marketing. You and I have some similar experiences in corporate, right? Like I was an internationally award-winning national director of sales. But then something happens when you go to do your own thing because it's personal versus representing a company.
Yes.
And wow, I mean, I
totally
pitched 50, not like cold leads, not warm leads. I'm talking people who knew me with a stellar reputation, and I only landed 2 clients.
It's devastating. You're like, what is happening? And now that you say that, I really do love to work with coaches. And it's one of the reasons that I worked with you. I love working with people that have had that success in corporate because I feel like, part of what we do in growing a business is timeless business strategies and principles and all the things. But also it was a whole new world. It was a whole new world. And I talk a lot about it in the book as well, just kind of weaving this story throughout the book. But I had turned 40. So it was 10 years ago. I'm 50 now. And I knew I had to make a change because I was like, okay, I probably have, only this many decades left, like one handful of decades left on this planet. I don't want to do what I'm doing. I knew I didn't want to do what I was doing. And so he was super supportive when I left. But 18 months in, having spent more on my business than I was making, we hit a low, like a really, really tough time as a couple in our marriage. He wanted me to be updating my resume on LinkedIn and getting another job. And I can tell you, Tiffany, my soul was having a tantrum. Like it was absolutely not, there's no way I'm going back to work for someone else. I just really decided to go all in on whatever I had to do. And of course, I ended up working with someone and it was a huge investment. And I had probably no business making that investment at that time. And then I ended up having a massive, massive breakthrough. And it's why we need the help, right? It's why we need to find those mentors and those guides and the people that have gone before us. And I don't believe in overnight success, but I do believe in overnight breakthroughs. And I went from that point in our marriage where it was bad to making 1.4 million in 18 months.
I remember that.
So it was this skyrocket after that, but it was 18 months of it being really, really hard. And then even since then, there have been really hard, seasons. And I don't think enough people talk about that. This is why I really believe, and it's part of what 50 Not Finished is all about, is that you actually have to love your dreams so much that it can weather the storm, right? It can weather the different storms that it will go through. It's not like all of a sudden you just arrive, as I'm sure you could attest to as well, with all of your years of experience in entrepreneurship. You don't just arrive and then all of those things go away. It's new challenges and seasons of hard and seasons of step backwards to then go forward. And I think it's about loving your dreams so much that you're willing to go through what you need to go through.
I mean, even if you look at the comparison of a long-term friendship or partnership, oh, we get married and then like everything is blissful. It's like said no married person ever or no partnered person ever. In fact, there are times when you actually can't stand the way the person even chews. And then there's times where it's amazing. And in having two businesses over 17 years, I mean, yes, there's ebbs and flows. I mean, hello, look at the stock market. There is no business that doesn't have that. But like what you said, if you are not obsessed, and I don't mean obsessed in a way where you're self-abandoning, but you are that really into it, and it's only based on whether it's a good time or not, you'll quit. And that's why a lot of people quit too soon. Because it's like, well, this doesn't feel good. This is uncomfortable. This is hard. This is hard. I mean, there's people who do that in relationships and then you end up alone. If you do that in business, you end up broke.
100%. And I think that a lot of people end up starting businesses they don't actually love or are aligned to, or maybe their mission and their message is what they want to get out there, but maybe they've tried to build a business like someone else has built their business and it's not correct for them. And I think, we were saying before we hit record, about some pivoting and even in my own business. And one of the things, I started out straight out of the gate was helping people with their marketing. That was my jam. I was vice president of marketing. I have my MBA in marketing, all the things. And so I was helping women in their marketing. And, that's where I started in 2020. Well, 2019, really dial it in 2020. And I still have some of the same clients with me now that started with me in 2020, which is super fun. But here's what I noticed. I started to notice that, I'm sure you could attest to this, no matter what strategy I was teaching, no matter how I was helping them, some women could take it and run and have success. And then others would stay stuck or it wouldn't work for them. Some of them would even try the strategies and they wouldn't work. And this is actually when I actually found and brought in human design, and it's part of the book. And the reason is that we are so unique. Human design is about the science of differentiation, how different and unique we are, like an energetic level. And when you're going to do marketing or you're going to try to market yourself or you're going to try to develop a business, people are buying what they're feeling from you. And if you are not in alignment with how people are meant to perceive you, see you, experience you, or you are not doing a business that's in alignment with your energy, you burn out. And that's why I think, a lot of the cookie cutter stuff that's been out there forever, it's dying, thank God.
I mean, I think that is more clear than ever right now. And I got to say, I kind of predicted this.
I'm sure.
Right. The vanilla stuff that I talk about all the time, the basic stuff, the fantasy marketing stuff, people aren't buying. And now you see those people who kind of taught using that and got away with it for a long time. Now they're
a lot
scrambling.
of money.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of money. But I actually love this moment that we're in, to be honest with you, because all that stuff is going by the wayside. And we just had a recent launch. And what my team and I heard from hundreds of women was this, that they are so burned out, not in doing their business. They are burned out in investing in things that aren't rich enough, burned out investing in things that looked good on the outside and then behind the paywall were blah. They don't trust themselves because they have a whole catalog of things they've purchased, right, that haven't really panned out. It's going to die. And I think the you, the me, the women that are really here to roll up the sleeves, get in with the women that we're working with and serving, and realizing that everyone is so unique unique and different, and they got to build the business that's right for them. That's going to win. And it's people that care, like actually care. And so I'm here for this. I'm here for this moment in the evolution, if you will, of online business. And it feels really good.
Taking a momentary break from this incredible conversation because I want you to imagine that it is July. The weather is perfect. You have a great breeze. You have sun-kissed skin. You're sipping something iced, taking a break because your business isn't in chaos. Your offers are selling. You know what to say online. You're not glued to your phone because your content and strategy are actually working and selling your offers for you. You're in the rhythm. And for once, it doesn't feel like you're chasing your own tail. That version of you, she gets here by starting now, by starting today in Money May. So if you want to take advantage of what I've got going on inside my ProjectME Posse business group coaching membership so that you can set yourself up to have a rich babe summer, let's get it all going. Okay. So here is what's going down inside of the posse. You have a year membership option, which is our most popular because you get 2 months for free. And you also get my Nail Your Niche Masterclass and some other incredible bonuses for doing that, which makes this $2.22 a day. Okay. In order to get weekly live group coaching with me and other special guest experts that I bring in. And we have an incredible live course series going on right now where it's me walking you through step by step and having you create an offer that is going to sell, like one that is going to compel people and excite your ideal clients to buy from start to finish. And you get unlimited access to any of the live courses, manifestation experiences, any of the master classes while you're a member. I do also have a month-to-month option for my commitment phobe. So all of that is right on the sign up page at projectmewithtiffany.com/Project Me Posse. You can swipe up. The links to everything we're mentioning on this episode are inside the show notes and here on Project Me TV on YouTube in the description. Now, if you go to the Project Me Posse page and it says full, we can't take any new members at this time. I keep this set to an intimate size so that I can call it in true integrity a group coaching program. This is not some membership where you get lost in thousands of people. We know who you are. You know who we are. You develop incredible, genuine relationships inside of the posse. And that's why it works. And that's why very few people leave and they stay in for a long time. We have OG members that have been in there for 4 years. You'll see why. Go take advantage of Money May. Set yourself up to have the summer of your dreams. You know what I fucking love about you is that you are one of the few people, and I literally can only name on one hand, where you delight in working with your people still one-on-one or in intimate settings, intimate groups. You're not someone who has ever gone, I don't trade my time for money and da 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 da. It's like that, I have to say to you guys, is a red flag to me of you not doing something that you genuinely are deeply connected to and passionate about, that you won't trade your time for money. Like that doesn't even make sense. Look at your most favorite artists. They trade their time for money. It's just a matter of what money feels right for you for that energetic exchange. Like that's my most delighted thing that I do. But I also have a business, as do you. So we have to have ways to serve more people and scale it. But I want to honor you
scale with
for that.
intimacy. I talk about scaling with intimacy, right? And to that point, and thank you for recognizing that, because to me, it's everything. It's why I have people, and as I know you do too, who have been with you for a really long time because they don't want to go anywhere. They feel like they're home. My thing is if it is my honor to have these women, these souls as part of our world. One of the things, as my team and I have been on this like point about scaling with intimacy, because we are growing and we've been growing pretty rapidly this year, which is amazing. But I said we have to grow with actually getting our clients better results, or we pause the growth. Like that's kind of been what we've been working towards. And one of the things that came to me intuitively to help that is that because we have like about 350 clients right now, or in 20 countries around the world. It's incredible, right? How do I make each and every one of them feel connected, feel like they're part of this? And it's when I decided to do a daily podcast. I call it the daily frequency.
Okay, that's wild.
It's Monday through Friday, unless I'm on vacation, so it's not the weekends. And it's not if we have, if I'm on vacation or we're doing an implementation week where we're taking a break, I don't do it then. Although everyone's messaging me like, I can't wait till you're back. We missed your voice, right? It takes me about 5 to 12 minutes every morning. I love it. I'm honored to do it. And who am I not to do that for them, right? To me, it's like, well, I want them to hear me in their ear as if I'm speaking directly to that one person. And they said that alone is helping them so much. So when you start thinking differently, right? When you start thinking like, how can I scale and still be intimate? I mean, I don't think there's anything more intimate than popping earbuds in and hearing someone's voice in your ear talking directly to you. And so I think that's who's going to win in moving forward over the next 5 years is those that really care, people that feel like they found their people, the team, the community that really cares about them and they feel seen and not just another number or old dated content, that like from 5 years ago in a course that isn't even relevant anymore, and so I'm here for it.
Why do you think it is that so many women, because you were saying how like they're burned out, why is it that we keep hearing, I know for sure you're hearing this, I don't want to be online all the time. I don't want to have to be constantly launching. They're giving a laundry list of all the things that they don't want to do in their business. And what it brings up for me is when I was interviewing, bringing in a house manager to do all the housing tasks that I really am not good at and I don't want to do.
Oh my God, that has to be my next hire.
It has to be. I've had one since I was 25. So it has to be. And I remember this one lady and she came in and right off the bat, she listed all the things she won't do. Exactly. I was like, well, you're not hired. Not to say someone can't have some things that are outside of their scope, but like, then how much do you really want the job? How much do you really want to do this? And I would love for you to speak on that. And of course, we're going to dig into all the human design stuff. Yeah. But what is that about? Is that their burnout talking? Is it because they're working against themselves and how they currently have their business set up? And then that's kind of their defense mechanism of, I don't want to do this. I'm tired.
Well, let me tell you, at least from my perspective of the women that we see and we've been working with, I tend to attract an older crowd, which I am so obsessed with. And of course, I always say our messaging is a boomerang, right? So whatever's coming back is what you're putting out there, right? And when I really started leaning in to 50 Not Finished, when I started really leaning in to midlife and all of that, of course, even in our ads, we really are targeting kind of women kind of 40, 45 and above. But even with that, I would say our average age is more between 50 and 60 in our community. And what I have noticed, at least with those women, interesting, Chalene Johnson just did a whole thing on this, how this age woman just wants it to be easier. They don't want the highly produced YouTube videos with things flying all over. Like we literally just want to turn this mic on and we want to talk to people. And you know what we want to do? And I feel like I'm speaking on behalf of my women right now. We want to create content for our clients. We want to show up and do hard work for our clients, like doing a daily podcast, right? We want to show up and do all that work. We want to work hard, but we want to work really hard for our clients rather than being content creators online. And I think that there's a difference. I think that you can be a content creator and you can be a coach or consultant. They do not have to be the same thing. They can be, but they don't have to be. And I think where a lot of women are burned out is in this fallacy that they can post online and make money and not have to do anything else. And so they've been sold this dream, right? That's all you have to do. And it's not all you have to do.
It's not, it's fake news.
It's such fake news. And so I like to tell my clients, I want you to pretend social media doesn't exist. Let's build your marketing and sales plan as if social media doesn't exist. And then we're going to add that as the icing on the top, right? And so it's back to business basics. Coaching and consulting existed as very successful businesses before there ever was social media, before any platform ever existed. And And so it is actually about getting them and going out and doing the right work. I think they're burned out doing things that aren't working. So that's what's burning them out. And they're like, I'm done and I don't want to do this anymore. And I've tried all these things. We're really trying to get them to actually, I call it OPA, other people's audience. We try to get them to make the lists of relationships and people and other people's audiences that they can go and start to, that's hard work too, forming relationships and finding strategic alliances and going to events and networking and all of these things to nurture and connect with people. It's hard work too, but I'm finding that they're more willing to do that than to try to be this thing that one, they really don't want to be. And they're also having a hard time doing, which is to try to be an influencer, content creator, on Instagram. And so that's what I think they're burned out. They're burned out from that fake news.
And if you delight in doing that, as do I, right? That's okay, because not to say, by the way, you don't get content fatigue, right? Like there's no way you doing a daily podcast, even though you delight in it. There are days, I'm speaking for you, but there are days where it's like, I really don't have it in me, but you show up anyway, right? Because it's for the greater good. Well, that's anything in life. I never feel like working out, but I want what comes with it from me doing it. So I do it. So that's already in there, but like forcing a square peg into a round hole, speaking to certain, I would say, generations, I would say I represent, like, I'm a Zennial. So I represent like the old millennial. I'm in between the old millennial and you, right? So I have a very interesting carve out, which explains why my clients are on either side of it. Like you said, the boomerang. And I do believe the elder millennial and older generations, we were taught stuffing a square peg into a round hole is what it's about, and slamming it and slamming it and slamming it and being injured along the way and forcing it and pushing it. That's just how it is. And I think that at a certain point in life, and everyone's different when they reach it, thank God I ran so hard and fast. I happened to reach it at a younger age because my body gave out. Like, I literally went into menopause at 37 years old. My entire system slammed into a wall. My adrenal system crashed, and it was done doing that. But I think most people, I would say, what would you say, like 40 plus, 45 plus is when you don't have the reserves anymore. You really are done. Like, you actually can't access your adrenaline even to get it yourself to do it anymore.
Well, it's so interesting, Tiffany. So as all this is going on with the business and all the things, I'm also aging, right? So I'm aging as all this is going on.
Aging very well, I might add.
Right. Well, thank you. And around 46, it was right about 46. I was turning 47. And I just held a retreat for my clients in Nashville. Right after that, I was flying from Nashville to Toronto because thank God I had this opportunity before he passed away, but I was having dinner with Bob Proctor and I got to get up there, have dinner with him and all the things. And I came back from that like 4 or 5 days of travel. I was on the floor, tired. I mean, I couldn't move. I was so exhausted. And I thought to myself, okay, you have these big dreams. Like, this book, 50 Not Finished, was already being written in my head, right? Ahead of this, I had these big goals, these big dreams. I'm like, if you think you're going to be able to go and travel and speak on stages more and do more of these things, like, you got to get your act together. And I knew that I had been throwing myself so much into my work and into my family, and the hormones were starting to absolutely fluctuate. And I wasn't taking care of myself. And I decided in that moment, it was that weekend, like, I remember it as clear as day, that I was going to train for 50. And so I started this pathway of about 3 years. It's when I actually stopped coloring my hair, and I didn't stop coloring my hair. I definitely blended. There was no way I was growing this thing out crazy. But it's now officially, it's totally grown out now. But I was like, no, I had it on my vision board. Like, I wanted to have like silver hair. I started going silver at age 19, 20. So I was like, I was done. And I just had this vision of myself, healthy, in shape, silver hair. And I started this whole journey. And in that journey, I started to take care of myself better. But I also started, and it was right about the same time, thank God for these amazing women women, a lot of Gen Xers, by the way, who were like, I'm sorry, what is this menopause, perimenopause? What is going on? Like, we're not going to take this the same way maybe generations and generations have been taking it. And so, so many women got vocal. My friend, Dr. Mary Claire Haver, you'll laugh at this. She and I were in the same network marketing company like 11 years ago. And I'm just so proud of her, but wrote the book, The New Menopause. And literally, she's sitting on Oprah's couch talking about menopause. It's like, wow, I'm like so happy to be living at this time, to be honest with you, right? Because we're having real conversations. And so over the last 3 years, really listening to all the new gurus in menopause and learning from them and taking my health seriously, going on hormone replacement, doing all of those things, I feel flipping amazing. All right. Like I've actually never felt physically better in my life. And here I am 50, right? So all that training has paid off. But here's what I found. And you used the word at the very beginning of this episode. You said invisible. And as I'm feeling like I'm soaring and feeling great, everyone around me, like so many women around the same age as me, were not feeling that way. One, they were feeling terrible physically, right? All the things. They're feeling invisible because, they can't even recognize themselves in the mirror anymore. Things are changing so much. Because I'll tell you, those hormones start dipping. And, when estrogen leaves the building, like collagen and like firmness and everything else does too. I mean, it's literally on every cell of your body. So that's why there's so many, like hundreds of symptoms, because it affects every area of your body. Feeling invisible, not recognizing themselves, the kids leaving the house, right? I have 2 of my 3 children in college, like that left the house, right? You have these massive transitions going on all at once, by the way. And also wondering, what the hell am I going to do with these next several decades? Like I'm not doing what I thought I was going to do. And this purpose thing coming up, right? That's when I knew I needed to, even though I was serving and helping all of these women who had already started businesses and were starting that pathway, or they were already left corporate or whatever, I knew I needed to create something. And the book is that pathway to help all of these women that are hitting this really pivotal moment and decide to do things differently. And we have enough people talking about hormones and all the physical pieces. To me, it's like, okay, let's get ourselves right health-wise. That's number one. But then what? Right? Then what? What happens after that? What are we going to do with these hormone replacement, feeling good bodies? Because we have so much more left to create and do in this world. And that's where that pivot came to. It's not really a pivot. It's almost a precursor, if you will. I really see people who come and they read this book and they are like, you know what? I'm ready to pick up my torch and do what I'm here to do in this world. Then we help them actually to do that.
And it's not always looking like, oh, been in a corporate job forever, or I've been, a stay-at-home mom most of my life. It can also be that you already have a business, which was my case. So I already had an 8-figure business. And it was intellectually stimulating. I still have that digital marketing agency today, but it wasn't my true calling. It wasn't my true passion. And I had been in resistance of that far before losing my health for all sorts of other reasons that I was taught. And one of the things that I remember saying before I started, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, is I did something similar but I can't build this business how I built this other business. I don't have it in me. I don't want to do it like that. That's not freedom to me. Because my first business, I created a prison of my own making because I just replicated how I operated in my corporate career in my business. And then when you have your own business, the work is never done. There's no clocking out. So then that led to my burnout. So one of the things that you're doing and you're explaining in this book is helping women identify their human design so that they can design a business, a brand, recalibrate their existing business even to be a true match to work with their own energy. Am I explaining that well enough?
You got it. Listen, Tiffany, I am a very logic, science-based girl. I am not like your typical woo person, although I love me some good woo. My MO is I get underneath the science and really dig into the depth. When I go to investigate something or really get into it, I mean, I go all the way in, right? Not surface level. And I think my definition on human design is that it's quantum physics mixed with ancient wisdom and the divine spirit that every single one of us has in us. It's those three things combined. And I think when I first got introduced to human design, I actually was like, this is weird and ridiculous. And having my birth data and where I was born doesn't make any sense to me. And so I literally poo-pooed it for a while. But you know how the universe, God just like keeps coming in front of you. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll investigate this further. And that's where the quantum physics piece comes. It's fascinating stuff. Anyway, I won't bore everyone with the details there, but here's what I will tell you. It is so much more than how most people probably see it on Instagram. It is so much more. It's not a typing test. It's not even a personality test. What makes it so different is that it's mind, body, and spirit. It's our whole being. And I think the thing that excites me the most is the depth of it. And one of the things that, of course, this is what happens. We go through cycles. Okay. So we hit our 40 cycle. It's called the Uranus opposition, and all hell can break loose if we are not in alignment with what we're meant to be doing, our purpose, which is what happened to me. That's exactly right at Uranus opposition before I knew anything about human design is when I was leaving IBM. It's like almost like the universe is shaking you around the shoulders going, you're not on the right path for your purpose. Your 50 cycle is called the Chiron return, and the 50 cycle. And this is what's so cool. So the philosophy of human design, and let's be honest, this was the philosophy before the Industrial Revolution. Okay. The older you got, the more wisdom you had, right? The older you got. I mean, we used to revere the elders and the wise ones, the medicine.
And a lot of cultures still do.
And a lot of cultures still do. We've had the opposite happen here, right? And Chiron and in human design, the whole concept is that this is so cool. And I believe it like to my core. Your full flowering of your purpose actually doesn't even begin till 50. So if you almost imagine a rose petal that's like a bud, like imagine that you live that way almost up until 50. And then actually after 50 is when it begins to flower. That's what Ra Uru Hu would say he was the transmitter, I would say, of human design. But this is a knowledge. It's based on the I Ching. It's as old as time. It's based on like one of the most ancient texts in human history. I am all here for that view and that thought. But I will be honest, we have to earn that wisdom. Just because you get older doesn't mean you're wiser. Just because you get older doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to be my sage, right? It's like we have to earn that wisdom. And what I have been doing with human design and with our clients is looking at not just their natal design, but their Chiron and the clues that shows us of their purpose. And what happens is it becomes this blueprint. I was just coaching a client this morning. And again, she's like, I think she's close to 60. And she said, oh, I teach them how to study their design. I'm not reading your design. I do not read people's designs. I'm going to teach you how to read your own design. And I teach them to study. And she was studying her design. And this is what happens. This is what we hear time and time again. They get this clarity and this confidence and this confirmation in their soul that, yes, this is where I want to go. This is the direction. Oh, I knew that it's like this recognition at the cellular level. It's really
feeling
really
seen, the opposite of the invisible feeling.
Yes, you got it. And they're seeing it in their body graph. They're studying their body graph. They're going deep in their design and they're like, they feel seen. They cry. And it's this joy. And now they've got the confidence to go put themselves out there in a bigger way, to write the book or to get on that podcast or to make the announcement that they've started this business. And so what's fun for me is I don't have to unravel something in them. They're doing it themselves by studying their design. And it's why I think what's so cool about writing 50 Not Finished and teaching people about human design is that they go hand in hand, because the whole concept is we're just getting started at 50. And that's
I think people hearing that, no matter what age someone is listening to this episode, that has to make you feel like you can exhale, because so many of us feel behind and I'm not as far along as this person. And then I'm starting over and it's too late and all these insane stories. And it's like, well, why can't this be the new beginning? Perhaps your new beginning was meant to happen at 60. Perhaps it was meant to happen at 70. I always think of Louise Louise Hay. I call her my spiritual grandmother. I mean, she started much later at life, and there are many examples, but that doesn't mean she didn't have other things that happened in other decades.
But meant to, like, so, and funny that you said that. My book is partly dedicated to Florence Scovel Shinn, who at age 52 in 1925, she's my spiritual grandmother, right? She 52, self-published the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, right? A 52-year-old woman in 1925,
You are
right?
basically dead.
We need more of this. We need more of us stepping into that. And it's such a beautiful thing. I'll give you another great example. And I think to your point about Louise Hay, I actually think it's all the things that happened before that are all part of the process, right? So one of our clients, she's 66. She has been an oncology nurse in Boston her whole career. And she's seen a lot as an oncology nurse. And she feels so passionate about wanting to help families in the prevention and the care. She's not a nurse anymore. And she's actually stepping out into this next pathway where she's actually working and coaching and working with clients, you know, on their journeys forward. And I'm like, she couldn't do that work if she didn't have all the lead up. You know, the lead up is important, but the lead up isn't the main story. And we've been taught that the lead up's the main story, right? From the working age of 22 or whatever, right? When you leave college to when you retire are the good years, the main years. And then you kind of hope and save for retirement. Like that story is such bullshit and it's over. Like we have to throw that out. And we have to start thinking wildly different. And that's part of what I'm trying to do with the book. We have a huge generation of women turning 50, 55. If more of them stepped into actually what they're meant to do after the lead up, can you imagine like what would begin to shift? Like,
yeah, I mean, I've seen it. And then there's different, I guess you could say, walls, blockages that happen that I've noticed in different age groups. So what are some of the roadblocks that women who are 50 plus do you notice that they run into, like their mindset blocks, their beliefs?
Oh, it's huge. So the two big things that we see is there's literally no one else around them that is thinking the way they're thinking. Maybe they're the first, or maybe because they're not articulating it, they think they're alone. And so we have women that come to our community and they just feel like they're home because they finally have other women that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I think our oldest client is 82. Okay.
That's so like, badass.
I love her. She's the best. And she just did a whole presentation in front of a whole networking group. And I'm like, oh, like you're amazing. But I think they feel very alone. I know they feel alone. They tell us that all the time. I think that they have to go first. And so because a lot of them feel like they're going first, they feel kind of alone. This makes me want to cry. They don't see themselves as having the gifts that they have. It's actually, Tiffany, why we brought in human design in the way that we've brought it in, because I want them to see it for themselves. I can't tell them how talented they are. They need to see it for themselves. And I think those are the blocks, right? They don't think that they can do it. They don't think that they have these gifts. They don't think that they actually have anything that's special, if that makes sense. They're not unique. When they start to study their design, they're like, yeah, I am. Like the 82-year-old, you know what she said to me after she started studying her design? This is what she said. I quote her. She said, I am not going to die before I get these gifts out into the world in a bigger way. That's what I want them to feel. And so they get to see their uniqueness and they get to see that. So it's loneliness. It's not seeing what they're really capable of. And it's the narratives. It's the old narratives that, you know, they've been taught to women, you know, don't be too much, or especially the older, like the 60s, it's don't be too much, you know, and just
don't boast. That's considered being gauche, as my mother used to say. You know, and then it's like the fear of being seen, the visibility because of the judgment, and
who
then
do
the
you think you are?
People.
Who do you think you are? That's a big one. And, you know, we held an in-person event last week and just the women in the room were just like, of course, I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to teach them some things and I'm going to, you know, have some content and all this stuff. Their favorite part of the whole event was actually just physically being with other women who they could talk to about their dreams without feeling like they were crazy. I mean, we're talking, some of these women are with partners, spouses, right? That are like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Right. I mean, some of them, very rare, few have the one that's like, ooh, what are we studying? What are you learning? I'm interested.
Yeah,
Right.
most people have family members like, okay, like, don't you think it's time like to retire? Or,
Yes.
God, you really want to do that? That sounds like so much work at this
Yep.
time of your life. It's like, what are you talking about? But that's other people's projections onto us. And you've got to make a choice at some point. Am I going to continue absorbing and surrounding myself with people who, aren't doing the thing? Or do I deliberately put myself and surround myself around other coaches, other women who are doing the damn thing? Because when you do that, you realize, one, I'm not alone. Two, oh, I'm not invisible because we actually not only see you, but we encourage you. Okay, I had to slip in here. You have two choices to make right now at this point in the year. I mean, can you believe that we are almost halfway through the year? Like, how did this happen? You can keep clinging to the illusion that waiting is wise, that sitting still and thinking about it more and figuring it out harder and deeper is going to actually get you to where you want to go. But here's what no one might tell you, and I will. Waiting might feel safer, but it's a false sense of security. It's the slow, quiet killer of momentum, purpose, and the version of your life that you actually want, like the stuff we're talking about today. It's go time. Waiting isn't neutral. It's a decision to stay overwhelmed, a decision to hold back, a decision to stay invisible, a decision to keep hoping clarity will arrive without action, a decision to keep looping in frustration while the months slip by and all the lost revenue that you could have made goes away. Or you can decide you're done kicking that can down the road and finally get the clear, actionable strategy, support, and clarity to make this your dang turning point. Here's your move. Join the ProjectME Posse group coaching membership. If you are making anywhere between $0 and $15,000 a month consistently online in your business, this is the perfect place for you. Okay. Because what it's designed to do is get you set up so that you have a couple strong offers going. You know exactly what types of content and what types of strategies to use in order to attract your ideal clients to you and then compel them to buy from you on repeat so that you have this foundation that's profitable set up, and then you can expand and grow from there. If you are in that spot and you get overwhelmed by all the noise in the space, and this expert says this, and this person says this, and it makes you go into a state of analysis paralysis and do nothing, and then you shame yourself for doing nothing, I understand. My brain is wired like yours. And that is exactly why I created the Posse. So we have the annual option, which is our most popular option. You get 2 months free. So it's $2.22 a day. We also have the month-to-month option for my commitment phobes. And you can swipe up, access it right inside the show notes, or go to projectmewithtiffany.com/projectme posse. These spots will fill up quickly since I've been talking about the Posse more for Money May. So don't procrastinate on it. Even if you have to pause this episode, go sign up and come back. Set yourself up, make a decision to get in the game and stop being on the sidelines of your life, because we're not going to do that anymore. That's not what happens in this next chapter of your life. Going back for a second to the human design. So like my audience loves all that shit, right? Like I'm a projector, by the way. Probably doesn't surprise you. And I'm
that
like,
makes so much sense.
I'm like you, where I didn't buy into it at first because I was actually mistyped. And so when I was mistyped, I was like, this doesn't feel right. This isn't me. And then I had on some famous, excellent human design person who does the typing. I know that's not your thing. And type me properly. And then all the dots started connecting. So are you saying that identifying your type isn't that important, or is that part of it?
So it's interesting, right? So, and one, I love that. Of course you are. So we use the word advisor for projectors.
You've adjusted
I really
the
have
language.
Advisor. We use advisor because
so I'm the advisor. Well,
yeah, of course
that's
you
on
are.
brand.
So the whole thing, right? And the advisors are only 20% of the population, you know, and we hear about manifesting generators and generators. They're really just builders, express builders. They're really the same type overall by the way, not the manifesting generator and the generator. They're builders. We're like these energy types that build, 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 but we need the advisor, the projector, to help the builders. Builders are about 70% of the total population. And so we need a lot of builders, right, to do the stuff, but we need the advisors to help guide us and advise us. I always say that advisors, projectors are like the most incredible coaches to help, because they can literally, your aura is, you can literally penetrate directly into the other, into me, so that you can help me and guide me. And it's just so beautiful. You got reflectors or evaluators are only 1%. You need that. Could you have a ton of people just reflecting and evaluating how everything's going? No, you need them to be a smaller number. And then initiators or manifestors are only 9%. They're like the founders, they come up with the idea, but they don't actually, they need the builders and the advisors. And we're all actually meant to work together to create and to do the things. And it's amazing. And so type is super important. It's a huge piece of your energetic blueprint. It's a huge piece of how you're meant to operate and work and respond in the world. But this is where I think I can't wait to change the narrative out there about human design. It's like one piece. There's this whole other element. There's your public role, the role you're meant to play. It's called profile. It's massive. There is also your superpowers or your strengths are also in your design. How you're meant to communicate, right? We use it in niching and marketing and, how people are meant to perceive you. Imagine, when you think about it, we need other people to connect with us in order to want to work with us. And if we are not operating correctly, they're not going to encounter us the way they need to be able to want to buy from us. And so we leverage things like profile to help with their branding and their marketing and their messaging. And then the big piece is all the shadows. A lot of the challenges and inherent in everyone's unique set of challenges are also their gifts, where they can literally then transform those shadows into gifts. So the depth, and I'm not even scratching the full surface, but there's so much depth that I think you could study your own design for years, and have epiphanies and awakenings and these realizations. We get a lot of the ahas, and so one of my favorite things to say, having coached now for that 6 years and mentored at IBM for 20 years, I'll be sleeping and I'll wake up and I'll go in our community and someone from Australia who was up while I was sleeping is like, oh my God, I just had the biggest breakthrough. And it wasn't because I coached them. It was because they studied something in their design that gave them the biggest aha. To me, that's magical. And that's why I love to use it. The depth is incredible.
And didn't you say, and I hope I'm not misspeaking, isn't there a free type of a map or a blueprint or something that we're sharing in the show notes?
Which I think your clients and your listeners will love, because here's one of the things that I did. So when I started, this is just how I operate. When I dug into human design, I was like, what is this language? Some of it was so esoteric, all the things.
I agree. Like I couldn't, of course, as a projector, I couldn't be bothered.
Which, how sad, right? Because if this tool can change our lives and we're like, oh, this is so complicated, whatever. Ra Uru Hu, in his design, he even said before he left this planet, he said, listen, you're not here to parrot me. He had the gate of shock as his life's work. He's like, I am here to shock and awe. And he was a kind of a doomsday, kind of negative, like kind of more on that pessimistic side of things. That's not who I am in any capacity, right? So his whole thing was, you are meant to bring this knowledge forth through your lens, through your differentiation. And I ended up rewriting pretty much every piece of the language, which is pretty in depth. It took me over a year. And so it's by a woman for women. And so her profit map is a free resource I'd love to offer to your audience. It literally is your human design and how you can profit using your design, but in language that will resonate, because you'll get it. You won't have to get a thesaurus out. You know what I mean? To kind of
I'm literally like later.
I can't wait to say
because you are speaking my language of simplicity and being straightforward. And I think there are remarkable concepts and tools out there, but they're just like covered in all of this language that a lot of us maybe don't resonate with or can't be bothered. And I want you guys to swipe up, go in the show notes. I have it in there. It's also in the description here on YouTube and Project Me TV. And then you need to let us know what your takeaway is. I mean, you're getting like an insanely high valuable gift, which is so generous of you. Thank you. And tag me at Project Me with Tiffany, tag Julie Ciardi as well. And so we know like what happened from you doing that. Because most people, right, in the audience, I'm like, I'm a manifester, I'm a man agent. Like they know their type. Now, let's say someone doesn't know their type. Can they still do her profit map?
Yeah,
Or do they
actually,
need to
your
find that
birth,
out
your
first?
no, your birth data, and you only need your birth date, time, and location. That will give you your type. That will give you your type. So you will be all set. That's all you need to know. If you don't know that, and you reach out, and I can help you with how you handle it. If you don't know your birthday and time, there are some people that don't have that information, but get that if you can. That's all you need. That's all you need to put into the form. It's a beautiful, beautiful book report. That's all so which is so beautiful. And I definitely want to hear from people what their big ahas are for sure.
And her book, by the way, because I know you guys are going to ask me 50 Not Finished, that comes out May 27th. So you'll be the first to know if there's like a pre-sale or any of those details once you get this map, because then
Yes.
you'll automatically be put on the list. And I want to give an example while we're wrapping up of how you said like the shadows are very important because we can get caught in the shadows of saying, and then we label ourselves, whether it's introvert, extrovert, whether it's Enneagram, whether it's your birth sign, whether it's human design. Well, I'm this, so I can't do this. And I'm a visionary, so I can't execute. Listen, projectors, advisors, we do not like working. We cannot work constantly. No wonder why I literally almost died. It makes so much sense, right?
One of my children is an advisor projector, and I am parenting him totally. He's only 11, and I'm parenting him totally different than the rest of us builders in
What
this
a
house.
what a
I
blessing,
know.
because it's not that I'm someone who is like I'm entitled and doesn't want to work. I'm more of someone who can do the sprints, okay? Like I'm not a marathoner. It's just not going to happen. I need lots of time of reprieve. Well, I could sit here and go, "Oh my God, well, how could I possibly have businesses and how could I write a book and how could I do this, that, or the other because I'm not wired like you, Julie." Well, no. What is so cool about the fact that I can't work like that is I've developed all these unique ways of doing things in order to work less and make more because of that side of it. And I think that's some of what you're talking about.
Yes, and your superpower is to be able to have the literal energy to be able to look inside almost the soul of another. Okay. You can't do that if you're burned out. You can't do your superpower if you're exhausted because you're trying to be a builder. And that's what's happened is unfortunately the non-builder generator types, right, which is makes up about 30% of the world, is living in a generator builder world and society and hustle culture. And so the beautiful superpowers of these people end up, getting burned out and not able to do it. So you need the space and the rest and the ability to do your superpower. So to me, yes, it can't be an excuse. And like I'll hear things like, I'm a projector, I need to wait for the invitation, so I can't do marketing. I'm like, no, that's not
Well,
how
that's
this
not going to
works.
work.
Oh, it's not how this works. And so it's neat that, one other thing I'll just share that's like really cool is, there are 20 fears inside of the human design body graph. You know how we think about fear? Fear can look lots of different ways, right? And so what fear do you have? What's your specific fear? Well, there are 20 fears. Let's look at what your unique fears are. And then let's transition those fears into your gift, right? You have that fear actually for a reason. Actually, there's a gift that can come out of it. So the differentiation of each human by studying their design will never cease to amaze me. It's not just about 5 types or this, it's the depth of differentiation can literally unlock that thing that's kept you stuck, or the excuse you've held on to or whatever. To me, it's magical. It's actually magical.
And she's given you literally the first step. So you
Yes.
can't sit here and go, well, I don't know. And I need to think about it. Like we've taken that away. So go inside
Grab
the
your
show
map
notes
and get a cup of coffee, glass of wine, whatever, read through it. It's you. So it's so cool.
And when we connect with ourselves at that depth, there's something you probably may or may not know. I say on the show all the time. The deeper you go, the dollars will flow.
Oh, yeah.
And this goes right with it, right? The more
Precisely.
you understand yourself, the more you're connected to yourself at a deep level, the more you can connect with your ideal clients and others. And there's no way that abundance doesn't come with that. You guys picking up what we're putting down over here? Like, this is actually the new way and the simple, more straightforward way of doing business, of doing your things. And you just need to be open and willing to pursue that instead of continuing to stuff the square peg into the round hole. Because you know what? We're not doing this. This makes us sick. I'm never doing it again. Julie's not doing it. We have our hands up. Go watch us on YouTube.
Swear.
We're like, I solemnly swear.
Solemnly swear.
It's literally not happening. And we refuse to let you do it any longer on your watch. Thank you so much for being someone who has been willing to step into this. I love that you selected that red as your color, because what you're saying is, you know what? People aren't talking about it. It's not exactly the most sexy thing by conventional marketing standards. Okay. And you're going, what the hell? Like, I'm going first. I'm doing it. Let's fucking go. Yeah. And I so appreciate that, because even just someone seeing that book cover, that alone, think of that abundance messaging. Whether you're 30 years old,
got it.
Whether you're 48 years old, whether you're 60 years old, seeing that, my instant reaction, that's also why you're on the show. It's like, was, oh, hell yes. This is where women, now I'm going to cry, of course, at the end. This is when we take our power back, you guys. This is it. This is when we're seen. This is when we aren't competing with each other. We're locking arms with each other, and it's a fucking go time. This is it now. And thank you so much for being a leader in this movement. I honor you. I fucking see you. I adore you. I celebrate you in every way.
Thank you. So I have chills throughout my entire body right now. And before you even had your tears start to well up, I was feeling it, like energetically. We were just like feeling that moment at the same time. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. And when you saw the cover and you messaged me, that was so much validation, Tiffany, because that's what I wanted to happen. I went through 3 designers on the cover because I was like, it has to be right, because I want someone to see it and have that reaction. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for all that you do. Thank you for going first, because I would not be here doing what I'm doing if you didn't go first as well. And I just thank you so much for your platform, for what you're doing, and for being a friend.
Thanks, babe.